Namaskar friends. A month has passed since India struck the terror factories operating deep inside Pakistan on 7th May. And while the fog of war still lingers, one thing is becoming clear. Operation Sindur was a game changer. I am Tilak Divesha and you are watching the great game Reloaded. Yes, Pakistan has been scrambling to twist the narrative, obfuscating facts, pumping out propaganda and drowning its losses in spin. But the battle damage assessments are trickling in and the evidence speaks louder than any press release. Let's start with the ceasefire. That spoke volumes. On 10th May, the Pakistani Director General of Military Operations reached out to his Indian counterpart asking for a ceasefire. No spin can cover up the reality. This was a white flag, a surrender. And what forced that white flag? The sheer devastation of Operation Sindur. Originally a response to the Pahalgam massacre, Operation Sindur became something far more significant. It became India's new national security doctrine that sent an unambiguous message that terrorism will now be treated as an act of war. There is no hiding behind the nuclear shield. There is no distinction between a terrorist and his sponsors. And here's the striking part about Operation Sindur. India didn't cross the line of control. India did not violate the international border. These were precision strikes launched from within Indian territory. Pakistan tried hard to manufacture a victory. It claimed Indian losses on 7th May and praised the prowess of its Air Force, powered, of course, by Chinese technology. But if Chinese technology was so effective, why was it nowhere to be seen on May 8th and 9th when India struck again deeper, harder and more decisively? India penetrated Pakistani airspace, bypassed sophisticated air defenses and hit strategic targets. Pakistan couldn't retaliate. It couldn't even respond. The so-called superiority of the PAF and Chinese weapon systems exposed for what they really were, propaganda. 11 air bases were hit and its doctrine shattered. What truly broke Pakistan's will was the scale and accuracy of Indian airstrikes. 11 air bases were hit across Pakistan. Strikes on Noor Khan Air Base in Rawalpindi, dangerously close to Pakistan's GHQ and Islamabad. Musharraf Base in Sargodha, housing F-16s and nuclear assets. Shahbaz Base in Jacobabad, another key strategic installation. The message: India knew exactly where to strike and how to do it. Pakistan's narrative machine, same playbook, no takers. In the aftermath, Pakistan launched a three-part information war, claiming the Kashmir issue had been internationalized, arguing that the world had re-hyphenated India and Pakistan, suggesting that the ceasefire was a result of US mediation, but none of it held up. Pakistan even elevated General Asim Munir to the rank of Field Marshal, a symbolic gesture meant to project strength. But let's be honest, this was the first time a Field Marshal's baton was handed out after a military defeat. Moreover, since this was primarily an air battle, if anyone had to be promoted, it should have been the air chief. What did Munir do in the battle? He presided over a defeat. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar made it clear, there is no international mediation. Our dealings with Pakistan remain strictly bilateral. That position has not changed and it won't. Meanwhile, global focus returned to Pakistan's long-standing terror links. Photos and footage emerged of Pakistani generals and senior police officers attending the funerals of elite terrorists, some standing directly behind Hafiz Abdul Rauf, a US designated global terrorist. As for Pakistan's claim that Pahalgam was a false flag operation, just as they claimed that Pulwama in 2019, no one bought it then, no one buys it now. And their call for a neutral investigation met with silence again. For decades, Pakistan played the nuclear card. Its policy was premised on the assumption that its acts of cross-border terrorism would be followed by Indian restraint. Why? Because of their narrative that any retaliation risked nuclear escalation. India called the bluff. That shield is gone. Operation Sindur broke it. India showed that it has the will to strike back and strike back with precision, without crossing borders and without triggering escalation. There is a new doctrine, clear, unambiguous and irreversible. If there is a terror strike on Indian soil, there will be a military response. And next time, India may not just strike terror camps. It may choose to target Pakistani intelligence or military facilities responsible for orchestrating attacks. That is the Modi doctrine. It is the new red line. Now that the dust has begun to settle, even skeptics admit Operation Sindur was tactically brilliant. India demonstrated it could hit targets anywhere in Pakistan, strike terror infrastructure in Punjab, penetrate deep strike airfields, and back it all up with indisputable imagery. Pakistan couldn't lie its way out of this. It couldn't claim nothing was hit. The evidence was too clear. What happens now? Will Pakistan stick to the ceasefire understanding? That's the big question. Because the cost of terrorism has gone up drastically. With a collapsing economy and international patience wearing thin, Islamabad will need to think twice before its next misadventure. But India has to remain vigilant because the psychological bruising of defeat runs deep in Pakistan. 9 terror headquarters and 11 air bases were destroyed. Air defense systems were neutralized. The narrative of victory sold to the people of Pakistan is wearing thin, given the evidence of the reality coming out every day. Pakistan may feel compelled to respond, not strategically, but symbolically, to save face. Let me end with an anecdote from a different war of 1971. On the day of Pakistan's surrender in East Pakistan, it wasn't Radio Pakistan that broke the news. It was All India Radio. And the stunned Pakistani public learnt of General Niazi's surrender in Dhaka from the Indian Prime Minister's address. Radio Pakistan softened the blow, and I quote, "Following an arrangement between the commanders of India and Pakistan, fighting has ceased in the Eastern Theatre and Indian troops have entered Dhaka," unquote. The formal admission came later that evening at 7:15 p.m., December 16, 1971, from Yahya Khan himself. He tried vainly to bolster the morale of the country by saying that the war with India would continue. Pakistan had lost only a battle, but the war would carry on. Yet, following Mrs. Indira Gandhi's unilateral offer of a ceasefire in the West, Pakistan's emergency committee met and spent more time debating the time zone of the ceasefire announcement, IST, GMT, PST, and FPST in terms of West Pakistan Standard Time or East Pakistan Standard Time, rather than the fact of defeat itself. Some habits of denial, it seems, die hard. Thank you for watching. Do like, comment and share your views. See you again soon with another topic and another anecdote. Till then, I am Tilak Divesha. Namaskar and Jai Hind.